Hi, I think we are recording. hmm Okay, everything is set up. I found out that if I turn off my other bathroom lights, which is on the wall, as in like when you see over here, over there, above the shelf, and one to the sides and one to the uh, the desk that I have, kind of mutes all the other distractions from my room, as the webcam has a very long depth of field. So we are creating some natural vignette, 3D vignette, Z depth kind of vignette, and not a bokeh, by the way. So it kind of puts the spotlight on me. Okay. Hi. This is Krishnan Srinivasan, a fine art photographer, a distance skater who does cross training with bicycling. And yeah, I do a little bit of walking and running for, as an relaxation or for a change of activity that I do. Okay. Yeah, we are here with another video. So very interesting. What is cooking in this computer screen? For now, it's a lot of tabs and a lot of text. That much I can tell you. But this is going to be a completely impromptu video. I worked things into my head and I haven't planned anything uh, at all. Totally zero planning has gone into this. Okay, I'll try to put my thoughts together and try and form a story and let people know about it. Okay, so who this video targeted at? Okay, this video is for distance skaters. Okay, for distance skating community, as I am one of them. I consider it to be. Okay, I'm a distance skater as well. Okay, and just for a change, I started doing cross training with bicycling, and then I took over to walking and running. It's also part of the cross training process. Okay, so when I got into bicycling, okay, I found there is so much innovation happening in bicycling, and people who are bicyclists apply quite a lot of knowledge that they have gained from their seniors, the industry that exists for bicycling, the market, the stores, the gadgets, the amount of research and development, and in other words, yeah, innovation that is happening for bicycling. They could able to use all the data and improve their skills with bicycling. I was astonished by the things that is happening in the world of bicycling. That's the fact. And my exposure to bicycling as a start was as same as distance skating. Okay, so when I got into distance skating, I have seen people using some GPS trackers or GNSS trackers, okay, which connects to the satellite, and you get to know your speed, you get to know your location, you get to know the route that you are doing your skating from start to end, and you get to know if it is a lap or if it is a complete loop of a ride, and you get to know your maximum speed and average speed and all that. Your mobile phone app, either for Android or iOS, was able to deliver so many data for you. And there are online portals like assisting portals for data, sports data, like Strava, Training Peaks, and many other things that is there. Relive, they kind of offer bike trackers. They kind of offer a lot of facilities, and as in like able to record your workout session, be it bicycling or distance skating. And then for now we are discussing distance skating, and be able to refer and to be able to go back in time for that particular date, for that particular ride, for that particular route, for that particular weather. You could able to go there, retrieve the data, compare yourself, know your performance depending upon various curves that it provides, and you do your distance gating. Okay, and when I was observing, I was doing things with the available devices that I had with me, which was just a mobile phone. Okay, I wasn't able to afford other things which uh, people in the distance skating world are using already. They use a GPS watch. Okay, manufacturers coming from various brands, as in like Garmin, Fitbit, uh, Wahoo, Polar, Chorus, uh, then you have Sunto, and there are many other manufacturers of GPS watches available. And all the distance skaters, to my knowledge, have been using a GPS watch for their distance skating activity. They track their distance, they track their maximum speed, they track the route they are going in, they get to know about the hill climbs, the elevation gain, elevation loss, all those data, and they've been using that for their distance skating rides. And a few were able to use the lap feature available in the Garmin watches and be able to employ that in their ultra skate events or marathon events. Okay, and I've seen people using the lap counter that is there, the very Indianized version, to be for someone to be highly religiously inclined, to count the name of the favorite lord that they want to pray upon. So that kind of counter was used as a lap counter. I've seen people using it, especially Mr. Paul McMahon in the recent Misfits Marathon of 2023. Okay, so all those, they've been I could see there is a complete what do you call that, an eagerness to make use of the technology that is already available and which is in the possible affordable range and in their reach, and they were able to use those technology and use that data, be it the lap counter, simple lap counter, to the mobile phone apps, and they were employing it with distance skating, and they were trying to improvise their techniques, their skills with distance skating, participation with races, 24-hour races, highly enduring races, wet weather, dry weather, cold weather, and a lot of things. So these things were being there, and unfortunately, when you actually look into the companies which are manufacturing these watches for distance skating, they never gave you the option for distance skating at all. There is no classification or profile or sports activity in the name of distance skating in any of the GPS watches that you will find in the market. Okay, very recently, especially only with Strava, they have actually, I know when I go and edit my activity, this is my recent activity, which I did last week, Friday. You could see when I get into the drop down menu of the sport, they recently added some activity called skateboard. It's not even mentioned as distance skating, long distance skating, or anything, like just a skateboard. I'm very happy for Strava, considering to do that. But when you actually look into the data, like you don't have necessary sensors or necessary gadgets to support this data to understand your performance or for that particular activity. For me, I did a lap of starting from my home to one particular point and then getting back to my home. Like I don't have much data other than the sensors that is built into my mobile phone can offer. And the app, if it is written to make use of this sensors that is available in the mobile phone, that is the data that I have to access and refer to and to learn from it and to improvise in my future rides. Okay, a mobile phone is known to have these sensors as in like accelerometer, gyroscope, like, and for the weather thing, and a little more data that you can get from that. Okay, so what data that we have here is elevation gain and loss, and we could able to use the GPS sensor that is there and track what distance and the route, and we were able to get the distance. Okay, so all those things: distance, elevation, gain and loss, and the speed, speed sensor based on the GPS satellites and all that. And we don't have any other data to go with. Okay, when you get into bicycling world, the sensors that is available there for our activity, when you get into bicycling here, like I do it as cross training, follow my mouse tracks here, or probably I'll use my pen and the brush, the usual writing thing. So when you look at here, like with the cross training activity of bicycling, the sensors that they use is heart rate sensor, cadence sensor, speed sensor, and power meter. Okay, each sensor has a definite task to do. A heart sensor would track the heartbeats and how fast it is, how many heartbeats per minute, how fast it is, how over the normal thing, and how lower the normal thing, and all these things are happening. It is meant to track that. Either you wear it near your chest, or as a smartwatch through your wrist, and the smartwatches might take some time to track your heart rate consistently. Okay, and a cadence sensor in bicycling is something like this that you see here in this image. Like where is that? Where did I lose it? Yeah, it's over here. You see the Garmin sensor, which is being tied to the pedal of your bicycle. So a cadence sensor is meant to calculate the number of rotations or revolutions that your pedal can do in a minute. Okay, and that will be reflected in your bicycle computer. So if you are doing a 70 revolutions or 70 pedal rotations per minute, I'm sorry, I hit the mic. So that will be reflected in the bicycle computer. And it's a live data, and you could be able to see how far, how effective you are riding. Suppose you need to measure it on a flat ground, and say like you're doing 90 revolutions per minute. So you try to retain that 90 revolutions per minute throughout your ride. So if your revolutions per minute is falling down, like you might have to lower or higher your gear. If your revolutions per minute is falling high, as in like more than 90, 90 is an example as an average that we took right now. And then like if you have to lower or higher your gears to keep the pace consistent throughout your ride. Cadence is like that. Okay. And speed sensor, as the name says, like you're going to track the speed of your wheel. So how does a speed sensor work? It's actually like this, like it kind of gets mounted to the hub of your wheel. It's completely wireless. So does cadence sensor. Most of them are wireless. Heart rate sensor is also wireless. So that's how it can be function properly and effectively, right? So, and it calculates the speed of your wheel depending upon the revolutions. Okay, and that data is sent to your bicycle computer. A power meter is something which comes inbuilt to your pedal. Okay, so as in this image, suppose your pedal that you see here, it could have that power meter sensor. Okay, or your power meter could be inbuilt into your crank itself. You can't tell. You can have that facility, and there are devices like that. But having a power meter in your bicycle is an expensive game. Okay, it's as expensive as most affordable bicycles, or if not more than the price of an most affordable bicycle. Okay, it could be like as much as $1,000 or more. Okay, or $500 or more. I couldn't remember right now, but they are pretty expensive. Okay, so bicycling is using so much of data. Besides, your bicycle computer might also have a barometer to sense the temperature, or to understand the elevation, gain and loss, and your bicycle computer might have GPS, to track the route and many things, and it could have like brightness sensors, to dim and dip the screens. And it doesn't do much with bicycling, but it helps you to improve your performance, and it could have ant plus a radio frequency, and it could have a Bluetooth, to be able to connect to the sensor, and plus can connect to all the sensors that we have mentioned for bicycling. A Bluetooth sensor can connect to only one of those sensor. Okay, so besides multiple sensors that is available with your bicycle computer, bicycling people or the bicyclists were able to collect so much data from the activity that they are doing, and they were able to constantly improve their ride skills. They get better and better. This includes not only a technical gadget like this, but also the things, clothes that they wear, the type of weave that is going into their clothing, the type of stitches that they have on the bicycling thing, the type of helmets they use, type of shoes they use, type of socks they use, whether they have to carry some sort of hydration pack inside the t-shirt, does it come under UCI rules. There are many things. The whole entire bicycle is designed to be aerodynamic, so many things. The evolution of bicycling has been happening for over 100 years. They have so much data, knowledge from various riders. There are so many inputs coming in, and they are taking those inputs from the riders, pros and cons, and then they are applying it into these technical gadgets, and we're able to provide things that could improve every rider and do a better racing thing, like be a better racer in their field. Okay, so that's with bicycling. But when it comes to like distance skating, unfortunately we don't even have an option in the sports watch, or either in other apps, as in besides Strava, we don't have any options for relive, or we don't have any options with any other trackers that we as we speak, like. So most of them recognize what we do in distance skating as either running or bicycling. Forgive me, I've been checking few other things. I had a lot of tabs open here. Okay, that got me into confusions. Okay, so then I saw into running and walking and other kind of stuff. How they calculate or how they get the data to improvise their technique. So then I got into that, and they were calculating. They have been using technology, as in like they have been using uh, mobile phones as in the apps, and they have been using GPS watches, and they have been using various other sensors that they could wear it when they are doing the activity, as in walking, running, or any other thing related to that. Okay, so one of them is oh yeah, before getting into walking and running, I also actually considered the cadence sensor that you will find in the bicycling, as you can tie that to a pedal. I was wondering if I can tie the cadence sensor to my leg and do the distance skating, like wherein like I get to push with my leg. I could have it on one leg and be able to use the cadence sensor, to push and find use that data, and later to analyze my performance and everything. But unfortunately, as I dig into that part of that cadence sensor and read more about it, definitely you can tie the cadence sensor to your leg and measure, use it for running or walking, or in fact distance skating, but the data won't be accurate. Why the data won't be accurate? Because the cadence sensor is basically an accelerometer. Okay, it has accelerometer, and it has a couple of things wired to it or designed in the PCB, but basically it's an accelerometer. So what it can do is collect the data of rotation. it could collect the data of rotation of your pedal. Okay, that's how the the data from cadence sensor is designed to be read from the software that is available with the watches, the software that is available with the bicycle computer, or the software that is available with your mobile phones. Okay, they are meant to be, these accelerometer readings, whatever that you get, are meant to be read with the apps, or with the mobile apps in the watches, or with the bicycle computer, to follow the rotations that it will be converted to the number of rotations, not as the footsteps, or number of footsteps, or number of the way you are running, or like any other thing that you can convert that data into. Okay, so there are quite a lot of confusions over here. So, and the data is definitely not going to be accurate, so I got to drop that idea of using a cadence sensor for my GPS watches. Okay, so and when I got into the sensors that has been used for running, or walking, or any other thing, like they also had something called cadence sensor. Okay. Oh yeah, my computer is a little bit overheated, so it's responding a little slow. But kindly follow the mouse. Okay, so they were using few sensors to calculate the speed, the way you walk or run. They also have a cadence sensor. So cadence sensor specifically designed for walking and running and other activities similar to that, where that cadence sensor will be calculating the number of steps instead of the circular motions that is being calculated on bicycle computers. I mean bicycle cadence sensor. Okay, then they are using that the sensor for calculating the power, when you're doing the walking and running. Okay, and then they are using it to calculate the distance. They are using sensors to calculate distance. Then they are using sensors to calculate the vertical oscillation. Vertical oscillation as in like the way your body moves above the ground, in y-axis, like when you are on the air, they are calculating how many vertical oscillations that you're having when you're walking or running or anything like that. And they are calculating the stride length or gait cycle. Okay, stride length and gait cycle are nothing but it's more like your walk cycle that you are seeing here. So this is from Google Images. So so definitely, I'm going to give the credit to whoever has done that, Mr. Angry Animator, but these are from Google Images. Okay, and I'm not taking credit for myself here. Okay, so if you look at this Google Images, it gives you an temporarily scan to make it a little bigger for you to move the window a little bit for you to take a look at the image a little bigger. You have the contact of both legs on the floor, then you are kind of moving your body to recoil, then you're passing one leg to another, then you're reaching a high point in the air with one leg, and then you're coming back to the contact, as in like the first position but the other way. Like your left arm is now forward, then you're recoiling, and lifting your other leg, and you're passing the leg, you're reaching the high point with the other leg, and then you're coming back to contact, as in like the first position. Okay, this is the complete walk cycle that you will find. Okay, and a gait cycle, a complete gait cycle is something like this. Okay, your complete walk cycle. Okay, from this position or where you started, and from the position how you ended, and the straight length is something of the length that you took to complete one gait cycle. Okay, so they are using sensors to calculate stride length or based on the gait cycle. And these images are from Wiki Common License, so I don't have to this is actually entitled to use free of use, like as in you don't need any proper attributions for this. But still, you can see like it has various calculations between the gait cycle. When there is double support, as in like both feet are on the ground, single support when single foot is on the ground, double support on the other way, then single support left, And when it comes to running, single support right. When you're floating in the air, single support left. When you're floating in the air, all these things are being considered when you're actually calculating the stride length and the gait cycle. Okay, so the gait cycle or stride length is uh, when you complete one such cycle, as in like you start with your right leg and you complete you move out your left leg and then you again start over with your right leg, kind of completes one gait cycle. And the length taken to do this is stride length. People are using sensors to calculate all these things. And when you look at that sensor, the sensor is nothing but more like a like it's a wearable that is there on your shoe. Okay, it's more like a small like a small pebble that is sitting on your shoe. Okay, and there are several companies, and these sensors, what you see, the speed, cadence, power, distance, vertical oscillation, and stride length, are being calculated from the things that is designed inside the PCB with the accelerometer, is inside the small pebble unit that you see over the shoe. Okay, so what does these sensors or this like this pebble kind of thing are made of? They are calling this pebble kind of thing as foot pod. We are now taking a look at the sensors or the gadgets that people who are doing walking and running use to get those data to improvise their skill. We are looking at that just to remind you of where we are, like right now. And they're calling it as a foot pod. That small pebble that you saw, they're calling it as a foot pod. And that foot pod comprises of these sensors: accelerometer, a gyroscope, a magnetometer, an MEMS, which is micro electromechanical systems. Okay, so it comprises of all these sensors, and they are using those sensors to calculate the speed, cadence, power, distance, vertical oscillation, and stride length. Okay, so accelerometer, as you know, it'll sense your acceleration, the and it is also it has the ability to sense the lift above the gravity and impact, and the gravity or the force of impact and all that. Accelerometer can do that. What gyroscope is? It has the ability to know your motion or the oscillation and the all three axes. There are 5 axes, 3 axes, and more than that. A magnetometer is something like is used to find the use the data of the magnetic waves around your foot and to correct your placement of your foot. It's more like bike fitting. It's more like how you place your foot forward, when you're walking or running. When you're on the air, you should not move your foot away too much from your body. You might lose a few seconds in running. So in the dry space, MEMS, micro electromechanical systems, they also use they also use those data based on those electromechanical thing that is happening within the sensor to correct how you walk. Like place your foot one step forward in the correct position, as in like you don't move weight away from your center of gravity. Place it one step ahead, in a proper way, so that you are walking faster or running faster. You are able to save some seconds, more energy, and qualify for your Boston Marathon or something that you want to take part. So they're using so much sensors that is available in the form of a small pebble, and be able to improvise their skills and everything. Okay, so I kind of understood what is happening with bicycling, and I kind of understood what is happening in the world of walking and running, etc. I couldn't go into the swimming area because that's totally a different world. So I couldn't take that input for distance skating. For now, the sensors or the gadgets that they use for bicycling, and the knowledge that I could be able to get from bicycling, and the knowledge that I could be able to get from the gadgets that is being employed to understand the walk or running and to improvise their skills, was sufficient to apply to the distance skating. And when I got that knowledge and I was looking for gadgets that is available for distance skating, unfortunately, very unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything at all. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything at all. Seriously, I'm not joking here. So, what people are using, as I said before, they're using only GPS watches, and few are using heart rate sensors when they are doing distance skating. That's it, nothing more. There are no other data available for them, to improvise their skills. And you can't employ speed sensor in distance skating in their wheels. The wheels are too small to hold a sensor. You can't put too many gadgets inside a wheel. That will make the wheel expensive. And as it is, long distance skating equipments are considered to be more skilled, and it kind of a little expensive. And you can't employ any other sensors that you can find here, which is from the company TechScan, which is in various formats, and like this, like one goes inside the insole of your shoe, and these are very flat and could be could be part of your grip tape or something. Like this could make the board really expensive. And like you can collect data from all these things with your distance skating, but we need a lot of research and development, and we need a lot of people to work on this. I see this is not as an immediate project, as in like in 3 years or 5 years you put in research and development, and put all the capital, invite investors and to invest in this products, start a Kickstarter project or something. You can call for investments and all that, and come out with something, but this is an ongoing process, as in like you need a lot of things. And when you are doing this project, you won't be having much data to collect, as in like distance skaters or evolving people. Like distance skating is an evolving field. Though skating has been there for quite a long time, like though people have done long distances across continents, like still, like there is a lack, and there is a room for improvement in terms of gadgets wherein like people could use and study and improvise their skills, and all that. And employing certain lot of technology could also increase the cost of skateboard or distance skateboard. The advantage of distance skating is like it's most affordable. That's why anybody can skate from 6 to 60 or more than 60 years old. They also can skate, so it will very much break the purpose of it. So for now, when I studied all the people who are manufacturing this pebble-like sensors or footpod sensors, for running, it's coming from a company called Runscribe. They have sensors for both your foot to calculate your movement, number of steps of left and right, and to keep it more accurate. They have an app for mobile. They have a desktop app and all that. They offer these devices for certain price, like $600 and $800. And then you have the well-known manufacturer Garmin. They have watches, and they also have a footpod that could go with watch and the companion app in the mobile phone. And there is a company called Stride, as in like the stride length, probably. And they have something, a footpod that goes over your laces, and then you have a Pola. They have a footpod that could go under the sole, and the midsole of your shoe, and you have Liamo. These guys are really advanced, as in like you will find 5 sensors here, right? As in like one goes in the this unit goes at the back of your spine, okay, and 2 of these sensors would go to your thighs, and 2 of these sensors would go to your left foot and right foot, Okay, and one could be possibly, I think this is actually a screen to read all these things. This goes on your shoulder or wrist. Okay, and this sensor could go at the spine, back of your spine. So they take data from all these things and improvise your walk or run or many activities that you want to do, marathon running or like 12-hour running, 24-hour running, hiking, especially hiking, and endurance running, cross country running, all that, even skiing if possible. They are collecting data from various sensors and be able to do that, and these sensors comply accelerometers, gyroscope, and various other things inside. Okay, so I thought, like, more than bicycling, the sensors that is being employed for running and walking kind of makes sense, as in, like, to have a soft change the sensors or the gadgets that is available running and walking, could make a like transcend better into distance skating world, because they have the gadget already. All we need is to write a new software to read those data that is coming from those accelerometers, gyrometers, magnetometers, or MEMS, or current sensor, or power, distance, whatever that you want to track from the existing sensors that is available in the world of running and walking, and make use of that footpod data and read it and translate that for distance skating. Like, that is what I feel like they could do if Garmin, Stride, or Runscribe, if they are watching Learmo, if they're going to watch this video, or if somebody can let them know, like, there is a sport called distance skating and people need such data to improvise themselves. Like, I am a lonely rider. Like, I don't interact, I don't have a company to ride with, to learn from, to talk to all my riders and help, or in Europe or in USA. And this idea in fact sparked because of Lena Merringdahl, the well-known entrepreneur, owner of MK Longboards, the well-known athlete, the well-known distance skater, winner of many races. Her boards actually won a lot of races in 2023, in 2022 as well, and her boards are bought from all over the world. This idea kind of came up when we were talking yesterday about the sensors and the technology that is available for bicycling and how they are using it. Then we were talking about the watches available for all these activities. When we were studying about why and what is if watches have ANT plus, and if we can connect multiple devices to the watches and all that. This thought actually came from the discussion that I had with Lena Merringdahl yesterday. So I'm very thankful to her. But the point here is, like, if we can tweak the software a little bit to make use of this data that is coming from this sensor and be able to use it for distance skating, that will be amazing. So how do we use that data for distance skating? I'm going to bring a little white screen here. Okay, so we have cadence, we have distance, we have speed sensor, we have vertical oscillation and everything, right? You remember, try to recollect all the data that the walking people and the running people are using. Okay, so let's try to use how that can be applied to distance skating here. Let's see, like, how it can be applied to distance skating, how that particular sensor's data can be transcended to distance skating using a software or an app or app in the watch. So what do distance skating people do? Distance skating people push, distance skating people pump, distance skating people tuck down at downhill, and distance skating people do switch push. Okay, this is kept in the last category because, like, all the experienced riders do switch push, all the newcomers don't do switch push here. Okay, and all the distance skaters rider push when there is an uphill. Okay, these are the categories, these are the techniques being employed when they are doing distance skating. Okay, and unlike most tactical or gnarly or more confusing part of designing an app or reading the data of the sensors that we are going to use. For example, say the foot pod itself, for to write a software or to interpret the data of those accelerometers, for distance skating. This is very tricky part, okay, because in walking or in running, when you're running, it's more rhythmic actually. Your pattern is repeated over and over again, and it's not like you walk for a certain distance, you speed walk for a certain distance, and then you run. Like even though you do, still you have a repetitive pattern, as in like one foot falls before other foot, and you do that over and over again to move forward. Like your body moves upwards, downwards, and your hands swing, and but your legs move forward. That's where your sensor is, okay. But in case of distance skating, all these things doesn't happen in a pattern, okay. The rider employs push whenever he is comfortable. A rider employs pump when there is a flat ground or whenever he feels like he want to pump, and the rider always stuck down at a downhill, wherein like you will find no activity in both of his foot, but only with his heart rate. Then he does switch push whenever he needs to be like more comfortable and do a lot of endurance skating, as in like for long distances, long distance, where he is using the effort of both legs, left and right legs, and he uses the same technique or just one leg when going up the hill, okay. Left or right, or just left or right, left and right, or like left or right. So with distance skating, you don't find a regular pattern as you would find in walking or running. So we need a software or some sort of data interpretation that could interpret all these activities, as in like push, pump, tuck down, switch, push. I mean, tuck down could be considered as no activity, and pushing in the uphill, okay. This doesn't happen in a regular form. This is very irregular. This is completely random, and it depends upon the rider himself, okay. And another factor to consider is when you're pumping, like the rider is always like suppose the board is like this, okay. That is the truck, and that is the board, and you have the fork, and rider is standing on the sidewise direction. His foot is on, back foot is over there, front foot is over here facing forward, okay. When the rider is pumping, like the movement starts from his head, but most of the oscillation is happening below his knee, from the thigh end to the knee, below his knee mostly. I mean below his hip, from hip down to the foot, there is a lot of oscillation happening between left side and to the right side. So it's more like a pendulum thing, but it's a must, like more frequent oscillations. So in case of pumping, there are no foot movements, okay, no foot movements, but there is horizontal, like what do you call this kind of oscillation? There is, I'm going to call it as pendulum oscillation, okay, pendulum oscillation. Forgive me, these are not scientific terms. These are made up terms by a regular guy like you, okay. I'm not a scientist. I don't have much knowledge about things, but I'm learning my ways, okay. So I would call it a pendulum oscillations. Your foot doesn't move from the board at all, okay, but rider uses his body motion, as in to and fro, back and forth, as in like this is back, this is forth. So he moves back and forth, wherein the truck, the wheel gives a reptile motion to move forward, so only the front trucks, okay. Rear wheel is always a 0 degree. It doesn't twist and turn, okay. So you got to calculate that. I'm talking only about the distance skating here, because in surf skating, when you consider surf skating, designing about a gadget for surf skating, rider employ a third motion to the back and forth or oscillation, like pendulum oscillation, is a twist, Okay, ride a twist from left to right and right to left to move forward in case of surf skating. So you need to consider that too if you're designing a gadget that would help a rider you who is doing surf skating. Okay, reading those data. Okay, so there are actually activities available for surfing in our smartwatches. I believe there is swimming and there is surfing as well, but I do not know how they calculate that. But when you are translating that into a skating world, you need to consider all that. The leg doesn't move in the pump action at all. And one more factor to consider during pumping is vibrations. Okay, the leg doesn't move, but there is going to be vibrations coming off the board when they are riding on the tarmac. So we need to consider that data as well when you're using or interpreting the data from a foot pod, whatever sensors that is there in a foot pod, as in like accelerometer, gyroscope, and like magnetometer, MEMS, and many other things that you're going to put inside a foot pod. You need to consider all these factors. I was saying like push, pump is like legs doesn't move. It's more like an oscillation, pendulum oscillation, or a back and forth oscillation to move forward. And then you have vibrations. Then you tuck down, wherein like there are absolutely no movement, no oscillation, but only forward lean action, as in like only board moves and rider stays still. And then you have switch push, wherein like switch push is something like as in you have a board there. Okay, forgive my drawing. Forgive my drawing. You have 1 foot here on the board, 1 foot on the ground. You push the board, and then you switch, having 1 foot on the from left to right. Say this is left and this is right, and then you switch between your legs. Like as in you have your left foot on the board and then you move your right foot. That is what switch push is. So you're employing both of your legs in switch push. So as in like you might need 2 foot pods for both of your legs to calculate the data that you need to interpret, like with the sensors available with the existing foot pods. And why am I saying like building a new company and be able to do all these things for starting fresh with distance skating, it's going to take a lot of time. But existing sensors, they can actually work with existing companies watches, existing companion apps on the mobile phone. So sensor hardware is ready. All we need is an interpretation software or option under the smartwatch saying distance skating. It could really help a lot of people in the distance skating world to calculate their ride ability and the way they push, how straight their leg when they are pushing, how far away they are from the board when they are pushing. If you're far away from your board and pushing, that is not efficient at all. It's going to consume a lot of energy. Like you have to consider all these factors when you're pushing. When you're walking and running, there is a rhythmic pattern when your foot is hitting on the ground, so the impact can be read from your accelerometer. But in skating world, it's completely random. Only when you're pushing, your leg hits the ground, you can feel the impact. But when you're pumping, you're not going to feel any of those things. When you're tucking down on a downhill, you're not going to feel any of those things. Maybe in switch push, like when you're pushing uphill, all those things. So probably, in the distance skating world, people are using a heart rate sensor. Okay, let me clear the screen. Hope you saw everything that I've been saying right now. Hope you follow me. Do you follow clearly? Please pause the video, watch it again if you need me. Okay, if you are new to distance skating, but people with distance skating, experts in distance skating, they kind of know a lot of things about this. And I forgot another category. Let me come with that before I talk about the sensors that is needed for distance skating. There is another category is called push paddle or paddle only. Paddle is something like a stand-up paddle, and this is called as SSUP in distance skating world, street stand-up paddle. SUP is something you will find in the surfing world in the oceans. Okay, in the push paddle category, people use a big pole to push forward with their skateboard. Okay, so So there is their board, and people use this pole to like push forward. So probably you need a footpad to be placed under this pole and be able to calculate or interpret that data and translate into their app when they are choosing an option in their watches, smart watches. Consider this to be some smartwatch. Okay, I'll put a dial here on the strap, as in like SSUP or push paddle and all that options that kind of pop up, like. So that's a different stream of distance skating as well. So probably in my assumption, people in distance skating world might need a heart rate sensor. People need a cadence sensor, to calculate the number of pushes they do, and people might need what is that? What is that? I kind of forgot. An accelerometer to know the impacts that they are doing. They need a gyroscope, to calculate the oscillations that they are doing, and they might need two of those put inside the footpaths, you know. And in case of paddling, in case of SSUP, they might need a footpad or a paddle pod. That's the right word. They need a paddle pod put inside the paddle. Like I'm talking. Does it make any sense to people? Like if you're feeling stupid, completely forgive me, because this is comes from the thought of like I need more data. Like when I'm a road lone rider, I don't have anybody to communicate. When I don't have anybody to communicate, like when they are living in a long distance, as in like Europe and USA, we have a time difference, messaging and getting a reply, it's going to be very difficult. But when we are doing right, it's hardly very difficult for anyone to communicate with anyone, other than you have a physical person beside you, riding along or doing the same activity as you. Like when I'm a lone rider, the technology that is available, as in like with the GPS bicycle computer that I have here, all the mobile phone, these are the companion that I have to talk with. So I see a maximum speed of 14 kilometers per hour. Oh, I speak to that sensor. When I see like sensor data talking about the elevation, I'm speaking to that sensor data. Like I find like I have a company, I have a device, a gadget talking to me. It's more like Her movie Her, like where he finds a relationship with the AI. It's might sound stupid, but a lone rider find his motivation with his gadgets. That's what I do. Okay, so it could be helpful for a lot of people to improve their skills, correct their body aspect in case of, I would say, distance skating fitting, like a bicycle fitting, like, and to improve the dynamics, the way they do, like these sensors could be helpful. And it would be helpful if most of the manufacturers, as in like Garmin, Fitbit, Amazfit, Apple Watch, Coros, like Polar, and many other bicycle computer or manufacturers. If you're watching this video, if you could bring an unit that could be helpful for distance skating, that would be the best thing that could happen. Like there is a whole lot of wall that is there. We need an option, as in like push paddle. If you happen to I don't need the slate anymore. If you go into the website of Skate IDSA, you could, or actually you can work with Skate IDSA and come up with a proper gadget that would be useful for a lot of people. And now you will find the board members who are really experienced. These board members of Skate IDSA, you have world record people who have done world record doing more than 500 kilometers in 24 hours, as in like Joe Mazon, and people who have skated across America. A lot of, you have Mr. Rick Stubblefield, you have Jack Smith, you have Mr. Paul Kent, And these sensors, could not only be useful to collect data and improve the skills of distance skating. These data could also help people to prevent from having injuries when they are distance skating, like the Achilles tendon. These Achilles tendon is a nerve or something, which is the longest thing which is connecting the bone at your ankle level. So that could get hurt when you're doing long distance skating, when you're not doing in a proper way, or without a proper warm up, or without proper knowledge. Like Mr. Paul Kent is the only person who has spoken about Achilles tendon, the pain, how to get rid of it, how to work around with it, and he's a world record holder. And another one is the La Machina, Mr. Andre Andres. He's a world record holder. They are the board members of Skate Ideas. The people from Garmin, Stride, Runscribe, Leomo, or many other GPS watch manufacturers, as in like Sunto. If you're really loving to get back into distance skating thing, considering about distance skating thing, please consider speaking to the board members of Skate ADC. They could really, Scott Ziegler, who runs the scene behind virtual races, could talk to all these people. Especially a valid distance skater, like most valuable distance skater, Mr. Adam Ornelas, who recently got hitched. So Mr. Adam Ornelas is amazing person. Like you could talk to other manufacturers in distance skating world, as in like Pantheon, MK Longbirds, and many other manufacturers of distance skating thing, G-Bomb, like trucks to wheels to bushes to many other things, like Bennett Vector, and a lot of people, like talk to them and bring up something that we can genuinely use for distance skating to improve our skills. Like we need some gadgets, to understand the way we are working out, with distance skating. This could really help. I'm mostly, like I came up with this idea or thought only because like I wanted a device which is multi-purpose. I am a distance skater. I use a bicycle computer which is pretty basic, which does only GPS tracking, nothing else. You cannot connect any other sensors to it. Okay. But I could able to use it for walking and running as well, also for bicycling as well, and also for distance skating as well. So as a distance skater to do cross training with many other multiple activities, we need a device which supports multiple activities, as in like the watches, the companion apps, and the sensors that go with it, as a foot part. So all the big manufacturers out there, you only can do it because you have the license to connect to the GNSS and various satellites that is there revolving around the world. So do something and help the people in distance skating world. And if you feel like I'm like if you find my idea not so sensible, but talk to some sensible people and they could give you more insights into distance skating rather than the small aspects that I told you about the push pump and all that stuff. So try to include distance skating as an sport inside the watches that is there available for for distance skating, and make us improve our skill over time. Let us evolve. We need the help of technology to evolve much more efficiently and faster, to grow our community much better, to reach out to more people as well. The more online records on distance skating popping up on Strava or Relive or anything, the more people wanted to do that sport. So the more it sounds cool, the more people are going to join. So thank you. Hope this makes sense. What I want to make a point here is like you can learn from your cross training process, as in like bicycling or walking or running, and apply that knowledge to distance skating. And for now, we need some technical assistance and gadgets and sensors and mostly a recognition or an addition into these small GPS watches, as one of the sport has distance skating, push, paddle, and all that. And in with their companion app and everything, to make use of footpods for distance skating. If you could do that, that will be amazing. So again, this is Kitcha signing off. Thank you, Lena Meringdal. Without you, when we were conversing, I wouldn't have arrived this idea. So thank you, one and all. This is Mr. K. This is K signing off. Hope it was helpful. Thank you. Bye bye.